What is up, people? It is me, Monster58. Welcome back to another video review, and today we are going to be taking a look at the HIYA Toys King Ghidorah from 1991, another exquisite base in the exquisite basic line here. And taking a look at this box, it's massive, and so I apologize for not being able to get it all on screen because at the end of the day, like in full, without any of the other like parts of my review station in the background. But at the end of the day, it's just a really big box, and I'm not used to obviously reviewing figures usually this massive. And so taking a look at it, though, from what we can see, you can obviously see this is from the 1991 film Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. So this is obviously Godzilla, King Ghidorah right here. Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah right there. You can see the nice King Ghidorah 1991 right over there. And then you can also see the nice product shot here of King Ghidorah. Sadly, that's one point I'll bring up. He actually doesn't come with any effect parts, but you can see the HIYA logo, the Toho logo, the Godzilla logo right there. And on the side, you can obviously see a bunch more, King Ghidorah 1991. I'm not going to bother showing you because I can't fit it on camera, but turning the box around, you can obviously see some more nice text here on the back. You can see the very nice product shot that we've seen online of this King Ghidorah figure. Obviously, exquisite basic. You can see Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah and a bunch of other text, HIYA socials and all that stuff like that. You can see a QR code right there as well. But other than that, when it comes to the box, I'll say with HIYA, I think they're pretty solid. They're nothing super amazing. I still think that Bandai does the boxes better, but without further ado, folks. Alrighty, folks, here we have the HIYA Toys Exquisite Basic King Ghidorah from the 1991 film Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah out of the box, and I gotta say, guys, this is an absolutely stellar figure. I'm gonna tell you this right now. This is absolutely gorgeous, and in my opinion, for the most part, especially when it comes to the sculpt, the paint, the detail work on this guy, it just blows anything that Monster Arts has done out of the water. Bandai, I love you, but at the end of the day, this is just a really amazing figure and a fantastic rendition of what we saw from King Ghidorah from the 1991 film Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. So taking a look here, let's take a look at the details. First thing you'll notice is this gorgeous gold with some brushing. Like you can see some airbrushing here. It's not as uniform, it's got some very nice, like this metallicness to it. It's really pretty. You can see all those scales, like looking at that, you can see that through the legs and the feet. The claws look really good too. The chest also has that as well. You can see all that just great molded in detail. Oh, look at all the scales. They're just absolutely gorgeous. And we take a look at the heads. Take a look at each of the individual heads. I mean, you can see, look at the eyes. I mean, they are so well done. The red with the black pupils. The teeth look really good. The expression, just look at all that detail on the heads. And they're on each and every one of them. Don't think that they've skimped. It looks really good. You can even see the other neck scales look really good. And then when you take a look at the wings, they also look good. The only thing I've heard about the wings is that your fingerprint oils can kind of smudge them, but it's easy enough to just wipe them off. So if you do see smudge marks, it's more or less just like the oils from your fingers, causing some little, spots here and there. And I think you can just wipe them off. That's what I've heard from other reviewers and stuff like that. But you can see it's really pretty. It's this sort of soft plastic. Kind of feels like felt-ish type. It's not like the fuzziness, but it's that sort of firm consistency. But you can see it is bendable. You can see me pushing here with my pointer finger from the back there. But they do look really good, and you can see even the scales here. And when we look at the back here, obviously all that detail still carries through. I mean, you can see all that. The scales here, they get a bit smaller, right? Obviously, as you get to these parts of the wings, and you can see the spikes on the back of the neck too. Those look really good. And then coming down here to the tails also obviously carry that as well. And I gotta tell you, these are probably the best King Ghidorah tails that I've ever handled. With how many King Ghidorah figures do I have? I think I have 3. Out of the 3 King Ghidorah figures that I currently own, this is by far, these tails are the best. Like, they're really good. And so when it comes to the details and everything with this figure, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, the paint, the sculpted in detail, the actual look. The one thing I'll tell you about this figure that I really do love about it is that it looks so crisp. It looks clean. It doesn't really look like, and I haven't really seen any, like, defects on this guy. It just looks really well done, and especially for the price, when you're considering the price and you compare this to Monster Arts, again, it's a bargain, very similar to Shimo. Really looks great all around, and this guy has a really nice presence to him. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this guy off to the side here, and I got to move the frickin' tails because they're obviously huge. And then we are going to be doing a couple of size comparisons, nothing too crazy, but we'll be doing a couple right here. So there he is. Obviously, folks, if you guys know my channel, you'll know that this is the Transformers Legacy United and Infernac Universe Deluxe Class Magnus. When you take a look at these two, obviously, there's a massive size difference, but again, I'm just trying to give you an idea. This is an average deluxe size Transformer, so giving you an idea of how big King Ghidorah is. He does go relatively within that, 6-7 inch scale class. Obviously, Magnus here is about 5 or so, being a deluxe class, but yeah, he does fit that bill quite well, and you can see the massiveness that is King Ghidorah. Alrighty, folks, and here he is with the SH Monster Arts Godzilla from the 1991 film Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Now, when it comes to this Godzilla, I'm going to throw a picture on the screen right now, and I will actually shift King Ghidorah to be like this, and I will shift Godzilla to be like this. Now, at the end of the day, when I'm looking at this photo, the size actually works really, really well. But at the end of the day, at the same time, there's part of me that feels that this Godzilla from SH Monster Arts, like if I'm comparing these two, if we were to scale Godzilla up, I really do think that this Godzilla could stand to be ever so slightly bigger, not by much. Because as you see in the photo, Godzilla comes out to about King Ghidorah's chest, and that works here, right? I mean, you can see he comes up to about his chest. I have their feet. Their feet are lined up right here. I'm sorry. Obviously, I can't get them fully back because of the review station, the wall. It's too close here, but maybe I can see if I can do that maybe and get them a little more over so you guys can see that a bit better. But they're lined up, and you can see that this scale should work relatively well. It's just, like I said, I can't help but feel that this Godzilla could just be a little bit bigger, and I'm not giving HIYA fault for it. I'm not giving Bandai fault for it. I'm just saying, like, either way, either King Ghidorah could be a little bit smaller, or Godzilla could be a little bit bigger, especially when it comes to the wings. I'll tell you this right now. When I'm looking at these wings, and then I have the Mecha King Ghidorah from SH Monster Arts, these wings are much larger. They are like a good bit bigger. Like, I think the Mecha King Ghidorah wings would come out to about the edge here, like sort of the, like, it would go like 80% of these wings is the size of Mecha King Ghidorah's wings. I would have brought Mecha King Ghidorah out. Unfortunately, it's just jammed behind a lot of other figures on the shelf, and I don't want to remove everything because it's just there's a lot of figures in front of it, and it would screw up a lot of the display that I have set up very nicely. So I apologize for that. But I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. I'd like to hear your thoughts on whether you think if you have the SH Monster Arts one and you bought the HIYA King Ghidorah, that would this scale still work for you? Because I still think it works for me. I'm just saying I would not be mad at Godzilla being ever so slightly bigger in this context. And looking at the pictures online when I'm looking at the HIYA one, the HIYA one does look ever so slightly bigger. I could be absolutely wrong with that. If you guys have the HIYA Godzilla that pairs with this King Ghidorah, I'd love if you let me know. But at the end of the day, yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's still a good size, and it's not out of the realm of possibility, and I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying that if I had to nitpick on the size when you're comparing the SH Monster Arts Godzilla that pairs with this King Ghidorah, that the Godzilla or the King Ghidorah could either be smaller or bigger, right? Godzilla should be maybe a teeny bit bigger. King Ghidorah could be a tiny bit smaller. But again, looking at the picture, I should feel like the size is perfectly fine. It's just for some reason I don't. Again, I don't know if that's just me, if I'm being an idiot, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. But regardless, the size is still really solid, and it's really good when you're comparing it to the Monster Arts one. The reason I'm even mentioning this is because I'm not going to bother buying another 91 Godzilla. Like, I've already spent money. I don't want to spend more money to make one figure irrelevant in my collection. That means I would have spent the $200 or so however many months ago, $100 for the Godzilla, only for it to be obsolete in my collection. So it just feels like $100 is wasted. Hope you guys get where I'm coming from there. As a collector, and as other collectors, I hope you guys get where I'm coming from. But yeah, size is perfectly fine. I just think that Godzilla maybe could stand to be a bit bigger, but again, that could just be me being an idiot. Alrighty guys, now it's time for the accessories. And this is my only gripe with this figure. Realistically, when it comes to the accessories, there's none. And I really would have liked lightning effect parts, right? Because obviously in the movie, one of the ways that Godzilla and King Ghidorah fought was by shooting their beams at each other. So we had Godzilla shooting his atomic breath, and then we had King Ghidorah shooting his lightning breath at him, right? So at the end of the day, that does suck that it doesn't come with anything. But like I said, at the end of the day, that's really my only gripe with this figure, is that he really doesn't come with any beam effect parts. Would have been cool for a display option. Again, I probably wouldn't have used it. At the end of the day, it does kind of suck that he didn't come with it. Alrighty, guys, and now it's time to get into his articulation. And when it comes to his articulation, I'll tell you this. This guy actually moves quite well, considering he's King Ghidorah, and at the end of the day, the most dynamic pose that King Ghidorah will ever pull off is either when he's wrapping his heads around Godzilla or when he's flying. And so his ground poses really aren't meant to ever be all that dynamic, right? Because he's King Ghidorah, he's a three-headed dragon, and he doesn't even have any arms. And so at the end of the day, when it comes to maybe a lack of articulation on King Ghidorah's side, I wouldn't more or less blame the figures, and even for the SH Monster Arts one, I wouldn't even any of the SH Monster Arts ones, I would not blame the figures for not being super well articulated. I would more or less blame the design for King Ghidorah, just because it's, I mean, in what universe is this guy supposed to be like super dynamic besides the expressions on his heads, right? I mean, we know all that freaking the meme with the three King Ghidorah heads that everyone uses for sports or other things or whatnot, right? Like, that's the most expressive part about King Ghidorah are his heads, right? So getting into the articulation, let's start off with the heads. So they're all on awesome joints. So they're kind of articulated like the tails are. So they can go down really far, they can bend up really far, they can twist like this. At the same time, the mouths can open and the tongues are also articulated as well. So you can get some really nice sort of expressions. You know, you can get them like looking in many different directions, and it's really cool how you can just like really accentuate that these three are, you know, they have three different heads, and that's really cool. The legs, they can go back and forth a little bit. They can bend a little bit as well. Rotation here, and the ankles have a little bit of rocker as well, but nothing crazy. But the tails are really nice. These are the best King Ghidorah tails. They just bend really nicely. You can see how they bend like that. Like, they bend really nicely on all those ball joints, and then you have a little bit of wiggle here at the end of the tail. And then the wings, instead of being on like ball joints, these guys are on like swivels essentially, so you can just do this. The only issue I kind of have is that they don't exactly hold, and I worry over time if these joints here for the wings will eventually just fade over time and they'll become less and less tight to the point where the wings are not being able to be supported by the joints anymore. Obviously, only time will tell in that situation, as I just said. So we'll see what happens, but I do like how they are on those swivels because it just makes it easier to articulate. The one most frustrating thing sometimes about monster art stuff is that they put them on ball joints, and sometimes those ball joints are either very loose or they just don't hold poses super well. The only one that I remember being okay, at least, is the other King Ghidorah one. I'd have to look at the other monster art stuff, but I just feel like for like the wings for King Ghidorah, especially the ones for the King Ghidorah, the legendary one, were static. But at the end of the day, I just like the fact that these are on swivels, more or less. You know, they're on these swivel joints, so it's way easier to move them back and forth instead of being on ball joints where you could risk pulling them off. So when it comes to the articulation, despite him not being able to move insanely well, you'll get some nice flying poses out of this guy, and at the same time, like I said before, I'm not expecting King Ghidorah to be super dynamic, because at the end of the day, it's King Ghidorah. And so, guys, for my final and concluding thoughts on the HIYA Toys Exquisite Basic King Ghidorah from the 1991 film Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, this is a fantastic figure. And the one thing I'd like to address is, yes, I don't have the box in the background, but at the end of the day, this figure is already huge, and putting the box behind it and trying to get that all in frame is just going to be impossible. So this is your end screen that you're going to get from me today, is going to be something that harkens back to when I was still trying to figure out how I wanted to do these reviews. But at the end of the day, when it comes to this figure, like I said, absolutely fantastic figure. From the sculpt, the paint, the articulation, I just think everything is very well done. He just looks crisp, he looks clean, and especially when you're comparing this, because SH Monster Arts is releasing a King Ghidorah from 91 alongside this one. This guy was about $120 after taxes and shipping and stuff like that. When it comes to the SH Monster Arts one, it was about $240. And so very similar to Shimo, I think that this is just a better figure all around to get. Again, Bandai, I love you, and I've bought a lot of stuff from you, so don't get me wrong. I still think you guys make solid products, but at the end of the day, especially when you're comparing the sizes, when you're comparing the prices between this one and the SH Monster Arts one, this one, in my opinion, is an absolute steal. It's a really, really solid figure, especially if you're getting the Godzilla or you already have the one from SH Monster Arts. This is a perfect King Ghidorah to pair alongside with your Godzilla. Like I said, my only big gripe with this figure is mainly the fact that he doesn't come with any lightning effect parts. I would have loved for him to come with some lightning breath effect part, but other than that, he's a really amazing figure all around, and I think he's a bit better than Shimo. And so when it comes to a score, I'm going to give this guy a 9.5 out of 10. You could argue a 9, you could argue a 10, but I'm going to give him a 9.5. Again, my only half point that I'm taking off is that he doesn't come with any lightning breath effect part. And sure, you could mock the articulation a little bit, but at the end of the day, as you can see, the heads move really, really well, and that's the most expressive part about him, because again, he's King Ghidorah. What other dynamic poses he can have besides flying? And so would I recommend this figure? Absolutely, I would. Like I said, if you have the old SH Monster Arts 1991 Godzilla like I do, like the older one that came out like last year, I think it was, or you have, I think maybe had a release previous to that, or if you're just going to buy the Godzilla figure that pairs with this King Ghidorah, you should absolutely grab this King Ghidorah, because I don't think you'll get a 91 King Ghidorah for cheaper than this, especially as detailed, articulated, well painted, and as good plastic feeling as this guy feels. So overall, really would recommend it. So I think that's it for the review, guys, and so I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends, and also follow me on the socials. Those will be linked in the description below. And with that, guys, and once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video review, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.